Okay. Yeah, get it. Get it. Get it. Well, we are dancing joyfully for once because ding dong, the bitch is dead.
Ooh, I
Welcome
got one.
to
I got one.
yeah.
Na 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 na. Hey hey hey,
Hey.
she's fired.
Welcome. Very good. It's Thursday, friends. Welcome to the Joe and BDD show. We are reacting to breaking news. The breaking news. Sam, put it up on the screen. First of all, welcome, Brooklyn Dad Defiant Majid Padelan.
Welcome.
Talk about this with you, and hi to everybody in the chat. Now that I got my mouse working, anybody who's following me knows that I've had technical issues. Here we go. I'm pleased to announce the highly respected. Sorry,
Do it in the voice. Do the voice.
I don't have a Trump voice. Do you have a
I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. The current secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere we're announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her shooting the puppy in the face.
Bye puppy killer. It's a very nice impersonation. I don't have a Trump. I don't do a Trump. I can't do a Trump. It is few and far between that we get anything that is even good news adjacent. And like at the end of the day, he has replaced her, assuming he gets through the Senate, which who the fuck knows. It is good news to see her unhappy, which I assume she is. That job title is literally hilarious. Like I'm totally
made up,
right? Like I'm totally picturing like Dabney Coleman's end in 9 to 5. Like I'm totally picturing her meetings the same fate. It's hilarious. Like I'm sorry, can we just special envoy for the Shield of the Americas? Our
what
new
the hell is that?
initiative. Just nothing. It's bullshit.
You're super captain of the captains of the captains.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But let's talk about it because okay, so she's been on Capitol Hill last couple days. She was at the Senate and she was at the House. She said some shit. This is not a good person. I am not sad at all. I gotta say, I reserve a word that rhymes with punt for very few people. And one of those people is Kristi Noem. She's evil incarnate. Brooklyn, what are your thoughts? And everybody else, your thoughts in the chat.
I was enjoying the past few days watching her get dragged by just about everybody, for the shitty person that she has shown herself to be. I was frankly shocked that it took this long for somebody to get in her ass about cricket, about shooting cricket, and on top of that, it was Tom Tillis, Senator Tillis, the Republican. I wish they would stop waiting until they're on their way out to make their true feelings known, because that's some cowardly bullshit. But with that said, I did appreciate how he emptied out the drawer on her about the dog and the goat. And I think her overall, he called for her to be fired or for her to resign or be impeached, all that stuff. It was glorious, actually.
Yeah. Sam, can you play that clip of Tom Tillis destroying her? That was a couple days ago. I think yesterday she was in the House.
I read your book last week. And honestly, some of the parts of it impressed me, but some of it distresses me. And I'll give you a good example of one that does. The passage where you talk about killing a dog that was 14 months old. I train dogs, all right? And you are a farmer. You should know better. You should know that if you're going out to a hunting lodge and you're putting pheasants out and you're putting dogs out, you don't take a puppy out there. A 14-month-old dog is basically a teenager in dog years. You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices. It's in your book. We could play it if we had time. At that same lunch hour, you killed a goat. And you killed the goat because you said it was behaving badly. You are a farmer. You don't castrate a goat. They behave badly. You should have probably done that before. But my point is, those are bad decisions.
I love how he talks to her like she's a little kid. You were bad. That was bad. And yeah, high time somebody said this shit to her. We've all been waiting for that because, my God, like, dogs are not political. I have had a dog my entire life. Like, dogs, I will say that my dog Ruby healed my little family because we lost our dog Otis right as COVID started, and we got Ruby right after, just because I didn't know how we were going to grapple with this.
It's a cute dog. I've seen so many pictures of him. Yeah.
Dogs are gifts. Dogs are gifts from God. When she bragged about that, and everyone was like, "That's game over. Her political career is over. She'll never be vice president." I knew at the time, fuck, Donald Trump's gonna love this shit. That's an audition. She was auditioning for him to show him that she was the kind of creature that could stand in front of a cage full of human beings in a $50,000 watch like they were cattle.
Oof.
She is disgusting, depraved, immoral, indecent. She is broken. This horrible person deserves no joy. All right, to brag about shooting a puppy. And by the way, definitely justice for Cricket. Sam, can you put up that meme? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Tell Kristi I want her to know it was me.
That's perfect.
Justice for Cricket. Perfect. But I mean,
is that actually Cricket?
That's Cricket. That is Cricket. Sam sent me that picture.
What a cute dog. Who could shoot a dog like that? A monster.
A monster. A sociopath. The same kind of person, by the way, who could look at the murder of Alex Preddy and Renee Good and instantaneously say that they were domestic terrorists. And by the way, yesterday and the day before, when asked by the Senate and the House and members in each chamber if she had anything to say to apologize to the parents of those two murder victims, she would not say a word. She said she offered them condolences. She would not reverse what she said when she disparaged their no longer living children.
She also lied multiple times when she denied that she called them domestic terrorists, because it's not like this is 1950 and we can't go back to the videotape. Right. Everybody's got it. Everybody's got it on the interwebs, so we can all go back and revisit what it is that you said when supposedly, because what they like to say is, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation, but you actually already did. You commented on it no less than 2 hours after it happened and arrived at the conclusion that Renee Good and Alex Preddy were domestic terrorists. So that was shameful. And one thing I will not miss from her is the same thing that I think all Republicans, like they probably go through the same training thing, where if you're on a TV show or you're being grilled on in Congress, when somebody's asking you a question, you know what she does?
Talks over them.
Exactly. And so
let's try it.
Go ahead.
Ask me a question. I'll be her. You be the question.
Okay. So what I'd like to know from you, Secretary Noem,
have sexual relations with that married man. That's disgusting.
Alex Preddy and Renee
garbage.
Good.
That's what you radical left libs do. And so I just want to be able. I just want to be able to say,
reclaiming my time.
Okay, but I didn't get to say. I did not have sexual relations at 30,000 feet with Corey Lewandowski, who's totally married. He's not my side piece, and that was not my special blanket. And this is
good.
Well, actually, I don't know if it is, but it's fine because I'm just gonna go with it anyway. And this is my natural hair, and these are my natural lashes, and these are my natural teeth, these are my natural boobs. Yeah.
That's more Valley Girl now.
Yeah, I don't even know. Whatever.
You strayed too far from the
I did. Minnesota. She's South Dakota. She's not even Minnesota.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
But yeah, she did the same thing Pam Bondi did. Same thing Kash Patel has done. Pete Hegseth. That's right. You're right. They just talk over them. But the reclaiming my time was a stroke of genius there, friend. That was chef's kiss.
Yeah. I mean, so ultimately the same playbook they use is they just don't want you to hear what they have to say, because they have nothing to say.
Yeah.
They cannot tell the truth, but they also don't want the person who is indicting them or the person who is addressing them. They don't want their words to be heard as well, because those are indicting words. There's
Yeah.
so, like, for instance, Jonah Goose
Mhm.
yesterday brought up a sharp point, and I don't think he was the only person, but
No,
he
he was
brought it out
not.
very well, about $143 million given to a company that
Mhm.
had no headquarters. It had no website.
Mm.
What didn't even exist 8 days before the no bid contract
So
was
suspicious.
granted. That's if you're looking for waste, fraud, and abuse, the call is coming from inside the house, guys.
Well, not to mention her flying fuck palace. Okay, like whatever the price tag was for that. But let's play that.
200 million.
Let's
200
well,
million.
200 million for the plane, 220 million for her propaganda videos of her riding around on horseback while her side
That too.
piece is back, priming his ass for her dildo. Like, let's just be real here. Just kind of telling like is. But let speaking about ass fucking, let's show Nagoose's clip here, because he's he gave it to her pretty hard.
That's inaccurate, Madam Secretary. I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States. You identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll
Because
tell you
was
about
done
it.
According to
Madam
law.
Secretary,
It was done by
the
career
address is
officials.
registered to a political
It was
operative.
dollars that
Madam
were spent
Madam Secretary, the
to
company,
inform
and then I'll
people
give you an
that the
opportunity to respond. The company is registered to a
she
political
goes.
operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
Yes,
that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered, apparently, or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why
All right, Joe. Why? Tell me why Donald Trump.
Why?
Tell me why, out of all the horrendous, unfit people who are currently in Trump's cabinet, why did he choose now to fire one of the worst of the worst?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Let me tell you what. Let me read this tweet real fast, because this feeds into what I think is really going on here. Trump didn't fire Kristi Noem because she failed to respond to the floods in Texas, which claimed the lives of at least 100 people. He didn't fire her because Americans were murdered by her rabid masked goons. He didn't fire her for posing for photos in front of human beings in cages like they were livestock. He didn't fire her for racially profiling Latinos, African Americans, Arab Americans, and Asian Americans. He didn't fire her because she was arresting legal permanent residents and U.S. citizens and detaining them illegally. He didn't fire her because she was keeping children in fetid, rancid concentration camps without access to clean water, fresh food, or medical care. He didn't fire her for turning our cities into militarized war zones. He fired her because she made him look bad. That was the red line. None of the other things were. And what I think this came down to was she's been repeatedly making him look bad, whether it was, what happened in Minneapolis, whether it was her saying they were domestic terrorists, when all of a sudden, when we saw with our own eyes and ears what happened, there was actual sympathy because these were murders. The flying fuck palace, the blanket, like all of this was cumulative. But what I think it was And yes, yeah, how bad is it when you get replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen? But what I think it actually was in the course of the last 2 days was Negus's questioning right there. But Senator John Kennedy, Leghorn Kennedy,
Yep.
forgets his teeth, Kennedy. He
Mhm.
trapped her in another comment about the
Yeah.
$220 million for her horseback propaganda videos. I don't think we have
Uh-huh.
that clip, but when she said in her answer to him asking her about that money, which again went to her friends and
Mhm.
lined ostensibly likely her pockets too. She said, because she was asked specifically, did Donald Trump personally sign off on this? And
Yep.
she said yes.
Threw him
So
under the
what
bus.
threw him under the bus, but also what I'm guessing is that she was just doing this shit. I bet they're all doing their own fucking skimming. Stephen Miller's getting his own. They're all getting their own. They're all getting their own profit, whether that what's on, betting on odds, whatever it is. They're all making their own. They're all a grift and a graft for all of them. But what I'm gonna bet is that he is not like this mob boss is looking at his whatever. What do you call those capos? What do you call them? Somebody
Yeah.
below him is skimming and he's not giving the boss their cut and then naming the boss at the same time very publicly, right? So he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
first of all, you made me look bad because this is
Mhm.
corruption. And even though I blatantly steal from this government every single day of my life, you name me. And by
Mhm.
the way, where's my cut? Because now we're talking about not one, but two scams she's been caught in. And I think if it's
Yeah.
me, I think that was the red line for him. You bitch, where's my money? Now you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't doubt that. I think I think you're right on the money. The corruption in that regime
Mhm.
runs rampant. It runs like a little mafia,
Yeah.
a mafia in the White House, and he didn't get his vig, he didn't get his cut.
That's it.
So yeah, and then she committed the cardinal sin of naming him.
Right.
She named him. She said, "Oh yeah, he was aware of it." And he probably was, in my opinion. I think he knows about a lot of the dirty shit that's going on there. How could he not?
Yeah.
Donald Trump is on a mission, by the way, in case you didn't know. He is on a mission to make as much money as he possibly can so that he can catch up to Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Because Vladimir Putin is in the hundreds of billions right now.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how much, nobody can put a finger on how much he has, but he's probably richer than Elon Musk, whose
Yeah.
wealth is mostly tied to his stocks. But
Right.
Putin has like gold money.
Oh yeah.
Money-
Like he makes the
money is-
oligarchs look like paupers.
Yeah, so he wants that kind of fuck you money, and his way to doing that is starting all these wars, right?
Mhm.
Collecting oil where there's no oversight. There's no oversight. He's taking $100 million worth of oil from Venezuela, and it's going into an account somewhere. And who's overseeing that account? Who?
He is.
Yeah. So
Right.
and Congress is like, what can we do? We've tried nothing and we're out of ideas.
It's so true. And in the meantime, yesterday in the Senate, they took a vote on, not letting him unilaterally decide that we're going to war with a country of 96 million people and sacrifice the lives of people on the ground there and our troops. And Republicans in the Senate were like, it's fine. Watch me cut my own dick off, won't you, for my next trick? I mean, this is what they're doing. I mean, the Constitution could not be clearer on this. That power rests in that body. This is, they're like, oh, Constitution, schmonstitution. The orange guy everybody hates wants to do this thing, and so let's do it. I mean, it's so sad. They're so pathetic. He is a mad king, almost exclusively because they have let him become one, because they have had more off ramps, my God, than the Parkway, and he has repeatedly given them opportunities and reasons. How many do we need? But look at January 6th. January 6th was for me, to me, that was a no-brainer. He tried to kill all of you. We watched it with our own eyes and ears. The country supports you. MAGA doesn't support you. The country supports you. Removing him from being able to run again is the right course, but Mitch McConnell decided to leave it up to the courts, kick the can down the road, and then the courts came back a couple years later and said, you know what? It was in the interest of him being a president, and there's broad presidential immunity, blah 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 blah. Anyway, here we are now.
Did you hear? Did you hear that John Fetterman?
Yes. Oh yes.
Voted against,
Yes.
curbing his war powers, and also he is already backing Trump's nominee to replace Kristi Noem, Markwayne Mullen, that Jack Buckethead, who the other day said, I think they were asking. He said this. He said he was in it like I forget what they call those clusters where the gaggle, right? He was in a gaggle, and he said, "Yeah, so this is war." And then he moved on and said some other things. And then Manu Raju was there, and he to catch him, and he said, "You characterize this as war." He said, "I never said anything such thing." He says, "Actually, yeah, you just did."
Yep. Yep.
And Trump has called it a war and blah blah. He said, "Well, I made a misspoke."
Sam has that clip. Let's show that.
I made a misspoke.
His brain is a misspoke.
You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War, and Secretary Hicks said
Senator, we haven't declared.
Just now you said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been.
Okay. I'm sorry, but Markwayne Mullen is about as smart as a screen door on a submarine. Okay, Markwayne Mullen is so stupid. Brooklyn, say how stupid is he?
How stupid is he?
Markwayne Mullen is so stupid he could throw himself on the ground and miss. Okay, Wayne Mullen. I saw him staring at a carton of orange juice, and I asked him what he was doing, and he said it says to concentrate. Okay, Markwayne Mullen. I have a plastic plant that has a higher IQ than Markwayne Mullen. There is a tree stump in the middle of a Louisiana swamp that is smarter than Markwayne Mullen. This guy is.
Wait, Sam, you are missing all these rim shots here. Sam, what are you doing? Sam, no.
God. It's all right. Here, we'll do this. We'll play with the toy. This is fine.
And they don't know the rim shot. Now he's just emptying out a bucket full of sound effects.
So there's the bench of dumb Republicans is deep as fuck. Okay, we got Lauren Boebert, we got Anna, Luna, Paulina, whatever, however many names she has. Marjorie Taylor Greene exists in the world. Okay, we've got Tommy Tuberville. Markwayne Mullen is what you get when Larry the Cable Guy and Larry from Newhart have a baby, and then they let Pee Wee Herman raise that baby on Mountain Lightning and Adderall and roids. Okay, so Markwayne Mullen is about as stupid as a urinal cake. Okay, and the fact that you
could have just said he's as stupid as Tommy Tuberville, and everybody would understand that.
I think he makes Tommy Tuberville look like a Rhodes Scholar. Okay, and
Oof.
But just want to say fuck John Fetterman. Okay, you like to fuck John Fetterman. It's him looking at the chat. Markwayne Mullen. Do you remember when he tried to fight the Teamster guy? You guys remember that? And Bernie Sanders had to be like, "Knock it off! Don't fight it here. You go take that outside."
The real problem is the millionaires, and the billionaires.
Like, this guy has no class. He has no decorum. I think we learned today he doesn't have a bachelor's degree, which is whatever. I'm not judging. But, like, you're going to be in charge of 360,000 employees and tasked with our, I don't know, national security, our homeland's safety, and you're going to have tens of billions of dollars of budget that you are responsible for. The most inflated budget now, thanks to the billionaire boner bill. You should be able to say, more articulately when you misspeak, that you didn't do a misspoke. Okay, I don't think I'm setting the bar that high. We're not talking about, genius level. We're not even talking about Einstein geniuses like Melania. Okay, I just want you to not say I did a
Epstein.
misspoke.
Epstein
That's Epstein,
genius.
right?
Excuse me.
Like, he is a Trump flunky and fluffer as the day is long. He will do whatever he wants. He is way over his skis. This is not a position he is well suited to. I don't know if he'll get confirmed. I'm going to guess he will, but it raises a whole bunch of interesting questions as to the balance of the margins in these two chambers, because they're talking about running a congressman for his seat, or giving it to him, the congressman giving him his seat, because that's what they have to do. I think the governor has somebody has to fill that, right? And then they'll have a special runoff, which, by the way, opportunities, I'm not just saying, I know Oklahoma is a stretch, but the whole world is up for grabs now. Just look what happened in Texas the other night. It is very interesting in terms of what happens next to the balance of power, but man, God, is he stupid. He is so stupid.
Well, that's the point. See, Donald Trump's cabinet is more like a junk drawer. He has not selected anybody who has any real experience worthy of the position. Nobody with gravitas or legitimacy. Everybody who is holding a cabinet position is a lightweight.
Yeah.
And that is by design,
Yeah.
because he plans to continue his march all over the Constitution and doesn't want any pushback. All he wants is fawning over him at every cabinet meeting, everybody taking turns around the conference table, fluffing him and buffing him and all that nonsense. And continuing to hold the country hostage to his whims. And right now his whims are dangerous. We had Venezuela in January. It was January 2nd. We had Iran just now over the weekend. What was that? March 1st? Right? Lindsey Graham is drooling, is frothing at the mouth at the notion of going after Cuba. And they still haven't finished. There's no idea what's happening with Venezuela. Who's running Venezuela? You took the leader out. You left the other people in place.
Yeah.
There's things happening there. I just saw a tweet that said that according to CENTCOM, we are looking at being in Iran at least through September. September. So it's gone
Sam
from
has that picture. I think Sam
a month or 6 weeks to now it's many, many months. So we are at war. This is not, there's no, I don't care what you try to call it. Yeah, there it is. U.S. Central Command is now saying internally that this war against Iran is likely to last through September per Politico. And I had a discussion with Malcolm Nance yesterday, and he was like, if this thing goes more than just a few months, we are in a quagmire, because they don't have a plan. They don't have exit strategy. They don't have an idea of what victory looks like. And so that's going to mean a lot of casualties on both sides. And I don't even know. It's awful.
It's there's no, the thing is, we've all learned this lesson. How many times do we need to learn this lesson? This is a really bad idea. And he's saying out loud that this is this floating mysterious answer explanation where it's like, oh, they were going to have a nuclear weapon imminently. There was no imminent threat. They were maybe talking about having a nuclear weapon. This is for Israel because they were going to strike Israel. If they struck Israel, then they were going to strike us. Is it nebulous bullshit explanation reason, right? The thing is, they went in there, like you said, with no plan, with no preparation, clearly as evidenced by the fact that we have thousands of Americans stranded. And they're just like, sorry, good luck, while they're evacuating their friends and TikTokers. But they've also assassinated every new person that could have potentially been in the line of succession so that they had somebody that they could continue to negotiate with or hopefully help, whatever. And they're carpet bombing the people that they're saying that they're liberating in a city that's more densely populated than New York, and there's
Yeah.
no exit strategy. They didn't get congressional approval. They didn't make the case to the American people. Our embassies are under attack. We should be very concerned about our stockpile of anti-aircraft and et cetera, weaponry. Our people on the ground there are in danger. Our embassies are being attacked.
Mhm.
Not to mention the wave of future terrorists that we are creating right now and
Oh, yeah.
radicalizing right now. They whether or not you believe it was the United States or Israel who is responsible, or whether you want to make the argument that it was the IRGC who misfired, we have some data that points to the fact that it was the United States who bombed that school and killed over 100 students. Yesterday, Pete Hegseth stood in front of a map that had the strike locations, and that one happened to coordinate exactly with that school. So they are turning the people they're killing into martyrs, and they are radicalizing a whole new wave. At the same time that they have dismantled our Department of Homeland Security and taken the resources from counterterrorism, Kash Patel fired a whole bunch of FBI agents.
Thank you.
Right? And they've moved the resources that would have kept us safe in this regard to the border and CBP and ICE, etc. So we're literally rebuilding all of the steps that got us to 9/11, and we are woefully underprepared to meet that threat, or to anticipate that threat, or to be able to stop that threat. There's the map. Right. That green dot is
Was
the
the
school.
school?
That's the school.
Yeah.
Where you have all seen the stories. It is absolutely heartbreaking and utterly just devastating. I saw pictures of little kids going down their stairwell, saying goodbye to their parents. This is heartbreaking, and it's very likely that we did that. Which
Thank you.
is
I want to
grotesque.
thank you. I want to thank you for bringing up for bringing up the whole notion that that Kash Patel fired all those people. They
Mhm.
were in like counterterrorism.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck are you
Specializing in Iran.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, specializing in Iran. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that tells you that nobody is thinking behind this thing. Another thing is you a few minutes ago you mentioned the Americans stranded in the Middle East. And a few days ago, Marco Rubio told America to call the State Department and they
Mhm.
will help you get out. And when they called, they got a message saying, an answering machine message saying, do not rely on the government. We cannot help you evacuate. Like, so you just sprung this
Yep.
attack. There was no plan to this. And then when Donald Trump was asked about that, he was like, well, it happened suddenly. Like, what? Nothing. You know what happens suddenly? A sneeze, right? A sneeze, and you don't have tissues on you, and sometimes you've got to sneeze into your hand, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens
Yeah.
suddenly. But launching a major attack on a country like Iran, that's not something that you do just spur the moment. Well, when they were asked about that, they said, or actually, Marco Rubio said, well, we attacked because we knew Iran was going to retaliate when they were attacked by Israel. And
Yep.
to me, the easiest way to avoid that
Mhm.
imminent, because he was trying to justify the use of the word imminent, right? Because
Mhm.
apparently you can't launch what they were trying to call a military action unless the danger is imminent. And the
Right.
danger was imminent because they knew Israel was going to attack. So the most sensible thing to do was tell Israel, hey, don't attack. Why are we being led by the nose into this war when we're the ones who have been providing Israel with these bombs? We're the ones who've been
Mhm.
providing them with money. Why are they dictating what the fuck we do and what our soldiers
Mhm.
are fighting for? Why are we fighting their goddamn war?
Exactly. And that is a case that they are not even attempting to make to the American people because they know that it will be desperately unpopular to try and sell this idea that we started a war that has cost us at minimum 6 deceased troops and all of these other injured troops plus all of the deaths on the ground for Israel. But the thing is with Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, there is really very little daylight in between them, and it's always quid pro quos, right? So if you remember correctly, Netanyahu went to Mar-a-Lago before the 24 election, and they had a little side conversation that was just randomly related to a ceasefire in Gaza that Netanyahu was not going to entertain and or enter into until after the 24 election because he did not want to give a ceasefire win to Joe Biden. So I don't know how many of these deals they have that go back and forth, but you'll remember that Netanyahu also nominated Donald Trump for, ironically, a Nobel Peace Prize. And you'll remember that Donald Trump in exchange, and as recently I think as today, is demanding a full pardon for Netanyahu because just like Donald Trump, Netanyahu is also a corrupt as fuck thief.
I was literally just writing a note there. Netanyahu legal trouble. That is why Netanyahu wants to stay in a state of war.
Correct.
Because as long he believes, as
He's
long
Trump.
as he's in a constant state of war,
Yep.
then you can't take him out of office. And then
Nope.
Donald Trump also thinks that applies to him too.
Correct.
Do you remember when he met with Zelensky in the White House, and Zelensky was talking about the elections and how he said, we're not having elections because we're at war. And then Donald Trump was speaking out loud. He's like, oh, so this should have probably been his inside voice, but he's like, so you're having an election. You can't have elections because you're at war. That's good. He said that out loud.
Oh yeah. We should do that here. But the thing is, that's the thing about all of this, right? Like everybody's like, is it a distraction from the Epstein files? Yes. Is it a way to subvert democracy? Yes. Is this going to tie to, in some way, shape, or form, interfering with midterms? Yes. Is this an opportunity for corruption? Yes. With Donald Trump, it's a 9-layer dip of all of these things all at one time, right? Like he's not just motivated by one thing for himself now. There's layers of like things that will help him, benefit him, shield him, enrich him, etc. It's all tied together. So, but he's also trying to legacy build, right? Like he has said out loud that toppling Iran's government, toppling Cuba, toppling Maduro, etc., that these are the things that he's going to be remembered for. This is going to be his legacy because, as we've seen on the Kennedy Center and as we've seen with the East Wing of the White House, he doesn't build anything. He destroys, he tarnishes, right? He's never actually legitimately accomplished anything in his own life that he wasn't handed an advantage, right? Whether it was Russian interference or whether it was his father's inheritance or whatever it was. He is forever chasing some legitimization of his own accomplishments. When he can't get them on his own, he will use our military, the men and women of our armed forces, our military might, the greatest military on the face of the planet. He will use them and death and chaos and ordinances and destruction to get regime change, to give himself a legacy he cannot organically create for himself by building and or accomplishing anything. And by the way, sidebar, he's also given himself a shield for the prices that are going up here now continuously because of the inflation, because of the tariffs, because of his miserable performance on the economy. He's given himself a shield to go, well, prices are higher now because they shut off the Strait of Hormuz, and now that we can't get oil, the prices are going up. The Chinese can't get oil. It's not my fault. You should blame these people in the Middle East. So it's so many layers of different ways to cover for himself and his failings and inflate his own ego and manufacture a legacy that does not exist.
There's that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm not saying that things were perfect, but he is he's taken like a so-so situation and just completely fucked it up. Like he could, for the economy, right? He could have just left Joe Biden's economy and just like pretended to do something, but really rode Joe Biden's economy. Maybe it wasn't lowering prices or lowering inflation as quickly as people wanted to, but Donald Trump went and just like made things worse with his tariffs. Number one.
$1,000 a family.
Number two, this war, this ain't helping anybody. This is not America first. This is not what MAGA voted for. They'd love to say they voted for people being deported, but what they didn't vote for was little abuelitas, little grandmas, being dragged into an unmarked van and taken somewhere. They didn't vote for that either. So he is taking a bad situation and making it worse. And I think it is obscene
100%
that the guy who avoided military service, he had, I think, 5 deferments for a phantom bone spurs that didn't exist, has the audacity to very cavalierly talk about. I hate how the fuck he's been talking about war since Saturday. Saturday, he made his announcement. It's like, that's how it is. There's nothing we can do. Actually, you can just not wage war.
He said that about the fallen. He said it is what it is about the 4 we knew then had died. That's what he said. It is what it is.
Yeah. Just yesterday, he was in a meeting and he's like, I guess I got to go take a look at the war. And with this stupid shit-eating grin on his face, like, motherfucker, like, people are dying. What's your problem?
Yeah, we have some breaking news. Today is quite the day. Sam, can you put it up on the screen? I'm going to read it. Breaking: the U.S. House voted down the Iran War Powers Resolution aimed at limiting Trump's military actions in Iran to that 219 to 212. 2 Republicans voted in favor. Warren Davidson, Thomas Massey. 4 Democrats voted against it. Oh, I thought Sam was telling me they voted. Oh,
well, the Senate voted.
No, this is the opposite of what I thought Sam was telling me. So now it's dead in the House too, right, Sam? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, if I'm reading this right. Yeah, no. Yeah. So the House, we knew this was going to happen though. I thought Sam had texted me and said that it went the other way. What's that?
What is up with this Henry Cuellar guy? Is that the one that was he angling for a pardon from Trump?
Yeah, and Jared Golden is in Maine, and he's basically a Republican. And yeah, Landsman, that surprises me. I'm actually quite surprised by Landsman, and I don't know Juan Vargas, but so it's dead. It's dead. So both chambers of Congress, a supposed like co-equal branch of government, have basically said to the executive, you know what, those war powers you're not supposed to have, we're supposed to have. Yeah, you just take those. We don't need them. What are you doing? Why? Go do it. Go be a greeter at Walmart. I don't care. Go cut hair. Go trim beards. Go pick up dog poop. I don't care what you do. Why are you serving in Congress if you want to abdicate your responsibilities to a madman who is sacrificing our troops for his own personal, whatever it is, motivations? What are you doing in Congress?
And he's not even willing to send his own son. Did you know that Franklin Delano Roosevelt sent 4 of his sons
I didn't know
to
that.
war?
I didn't.
Like, that's, to me, that's nuts, because that was all he had. And I think there's like a rule. It might be a new rule that you can't, like, if you have
like in Saving Private Ryan.
Yes, exactly that. Like, if you have like 4 sons and 3 of them die, like that 4th one has to come home immediately.
Yeah, it looks like Gottheimer voted with the Democrats here, just to answer that question, because Sam didn't have him listed against. So, but I heard, by the way, Brooklyn, I did hear, who told me this yesterday? Somebody told me that Trump threatened Don Jr., who was toying with the idea after he saw the princes in England, doing their
Harry.
military stuff,
Yeah.
that Don Jr. like toyed with the idea of serving in the military, and that Trump threatened to disown him. I don't know who told me that. I do a lot of
I
shows,
heard
so
that too.
trying to remember. But like, if anybody in the chat had heard that he hates the military so much.
That's
What's
that's
that?
from a while. That's from a while ago.
Yeah. So, but somebody told me I had not heard it, and somebody mentioned it to me yesterday when I was doing something, and I can't remember what it was. But he has so much disdain and disrespect, and to your point, and I say this a lot because, like, I say this a lot. So it's fine. I'm a broken record, and I'm going to die on this hill. But he is a 5-time draft dodger who demeaned a POW, disparaged a Gold Star family, insulted a military widow, said he knew her husband knew what he signed up for. This is a person who told John Kelly he didn't want to have amputees, war-wounded amputees in his sight. He stood at Arlington National Cemetery, a cemetery he would later go on to use for a campaign video.
Mhm.
He stood on sacred ground and said to John Kelly, when looking at the graves, I don't understand it. What was in it for them? He skipped military honors because it was raining. He called the fallen of war suckers and losers. Again, John Kelly. I don't care if you don't believe John Kelly. We've got plenty of data points. Because what he does, even in front of us, should tell us all we need to know. He has accepted people's purple hearts and said, I always wanted one of these. This was a much easier way to get it. He said the Medal of Honor wasn't as good as the Medal of Freedom because you had to get arms and limbs blown off. He also downplayed the traumatic head injuries of soldiers who were targeted and hit after he killed Soleimani, and said these are not real injuries. They aren't missing limbs. Not to mention the fact, and I think this is crucially important because don't even care about what he says. Watch what he does. He has gutted, absolutely decimated the VA. He has fired more veterans than any president in our country's history. If you don't care about anything else, care about those two things and care about the fact that he said when they died, the 4 that we had at that time, the 4 troops that died, this is just the way that it is. This is a person who does not have a single shit or flying fuck to give for our men and women who put country first, who are willing to pay the ultimate price in serving our country to preserve and protect our freedom. He doesn't give a flying fuck. And anybody who doesn't understand that is either willfully ignorant or fooling themselves into believing some deluded idea of the truth because he cannot say it any more loudly. He doesn't care about our troops. They are pawns in some twisted fucking game that he sees as his own props, and that is disgusting. Sorry, I just had to say that.
He was perfectly said. Absolutely perfectly said. I mean, if you cannot believe the things that we're saying here, you haven't been paying attention, because these are we didn't just make Joe didn't just make up a whole list of shit. This is all documented. These are facts. I saw somebody in the comments like, you're just saying that because you hate Donald Trump. No, we're saying it because these are a matter of public record now. Yeah. You can Google it. You have a phone, you have a computer, look it up for yourself. Don't take our word for it.
No.
And there's plenty of the earliest example of him having no regard for the military is when he spoke about John McCain, who I was never a fan of, but he was a decent guy who served our country, who was injured badly. He was kept and tortured, he was a POW. And he's like, he's not a hero to me. He was captured. Like, why did he get past that hurdle? That should have been the end of his career right then. In a country where people love to wave the flag and get all teary-eyed when someone, you disrespect my flag. Somebody kneeled during during the anthem. How dare you? And this person was kneeling, because black people were unarmed black people were being murdered. How dare you disrespect? But Donald Trump disrespecting a war hero, that's cool. Disrespecting a Gold Star family, that's fine. No problem with that. And on and on and on and on. Yeah. And more specifically to your point about how he is dismantled so many people, fired from the VA, and Come on, wake up,
Yeah,
and hopefully now, hopefully this war will wake some people up. I saw in the chat a few minutes ago, Tina Bradford was mentioning that gas prices have already gone up.
Yeah.
Some people are saying up to $1. I think she said it was 279. Like,
Oh,
there,
yes.
there it is, right there.
Yep. Yeah.
349 now. That's fast. That's really fast.
No.
That's something to be concerned about.
Not to mention Pam Bondi's favorite metric of administrative success.
The Dow.
The Dow is not at 50,000 anymore. I'm afraid.
That was so funny. I mean, it was so surreal. She's like, "Do you know the Dow is 50,000 Dow?" Why are you laughing? That combination of words to me is so hilarious. It will never not be funny to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, every metric is moving in the wrong direction. All of this is costing us more. It's depleting our weapons stockpiles. It's making us less safe abroad and at home. Prices that were already high are going to keep going up. We're already being squeezed every which way because in healthcare, forget it. Our electric bills, our war crimes. I mean, all of this is moving in the wrong direction. Yeah, our Dow is now 3,000 points lower than it was when she said that. And it's also, that's not a metric that moves me. I don't have anything invested in the Dow. So like for me, that's not the economy. And Donald Trump used to always say, other people used to always say the stock market is not the economy. Yeah, I just read that. Yeah. There you go.
The Dow is now over 3K points lower than when she said that. That is I mean, I'm not happy about it because people's retirement accounts are shrinking.
No.
Obviously, my IRA, I finally did the responsible thing and got one of those.
Oh, I need one of those. I need all the things. Yeah. I mean, let's before we go, let's pivot to Secretary of Bottle of Bourbon, Pete Hegseth, though, because I want to talk about how he has now morphed into Colin Jost's impersonations of him,
Caricature,
which a character, which by the way have been brilliant and genius and like just shout out. So
He's
funny.
Too spot on. He's too spot
so good.
on.
So we got two clips. Hegseth is one of the worst public speakers I've ever seen. And these are both from 2 days ago because he also gave us Unhinged screed today. But let's start with the first one where he's just like a douchey frat boy. Yeah. He's talking about let's see, death and destruction all day long. All right, Sam, play that
one. And fixing their leaders and their military leaders. Flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky.
Oh, well, he says all day long. Yeah.
Wasn't there a quote where he's like, we punch you when you're down. We'll gouge your eye out. We'll rip your testicles and make you eat them.
I would not be surprised.
He's so over the top.
What was that, Sam? Well, I didn't hear it.
Exactly. I mean, there's no need for all the jingoistic theatrics, man. Everybody understands that war is deadly. Mm-hmm. He is more like a cheerleader, like a play actor, really, than somebody that, if I were in the military, I would have no respect for him at all. In fact, that's what Malcolm Nance said yesterday. He said that Pete Hegseth is a joke. And that is how the majority of the people in the Pentagon and the armed forces view this clown.
He's clearly Well, I can't decide if he's overcompensating because he knows that he's a piece of shit and he knows that he doesn't have respect, or if he's a narcissist who should command respect. There's a quote about an elephant not needing to tell you that it's big, right? Like he thinks that he thinks that he's bigger than he is. But let me tell you, this one thing that he said yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago now. Right, because yes, I believe. Well, it doesn't matter. Same press conference. This, to your point about people in the Pentagon, this one made his staff, according to other journalists in the room, made his staff drop their heads when he said it. So I just want to play it, and then we'll want to react to it. Sam, that's the other Hegseth clip.
What the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war.
Horrible. So he's basically turned the deaths of servicemen and women into, don't make Donald Trump feel bad by reporting on that. That is abysmal. That is beneath the dignity of the office that he holds. Really, it is time to get rid of that clown. What is he? He's just a cheerleader. He's nothing else, nothing more.
Completely and utterly incompetent in every single way. He's already compromised our national security multiple times. I mean, we know that he shared classified war plans in a Signal chat with a journalist who's like, hi. He should have been fired for that. Instead, I always forget this guy's name. He was now the ambassador to the UN. Donald Trump just moved him over from NSA. Waltz, is that his name? I can't ever remember this guy.
Mike Waltz, I think.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But Hegseth hasn't paid a price for any of that. Again, I believe in that quote there, he had Donald Trump's voice in his ear. I would bet money, good American dollars, on the fact that Trump said, they're making me look bad. The press is making me, you need to go out there and you need to tell them to stop reporting the truth about these casualties and these deceased troops because they're making me look bad. My victory, my success, my reign of fury and firepower, and this is the story. It's that's what they should be reporting, and you need to go tell them that because it's making me look bad. So I guarantee you, he had that in his ear. He probably also had his psycho fourth wife in his ear telling him, you can't have that third bottle of tequila for breakfast, Pete. Let's pray. So he's got that emasculating bullshit in his ear. He's probably still drunk off of whatever he drank after she went to sleep. He is an abomination. And again, I know I say this a lot. It's a very important thing to know about me. I was raised by my dad, my siblings and I, all five of us. Our dad took custody of us when my mom left. My dad worked for the Department of Defense for his entire career. And my dad would be looking at the Department of Defense, at that little stupid piece of shit wants to call the Department of War, and he would say, shame on you on you for what you have turned this department into, and shame on anybody who can support what you do and what you have done. He should have been gone. He should have never been the pick to begin with. No one should have ever confirmed him. He needs to be removed. I don't think we're ever going to see the day that Donald Trump removes him from that position ever.
Yeah. I have nothing. I have nothing to add to that. Rob Law here is saying, I guarantee you there are way more than 6 deaths. Those are just the ones they're reporting, and I don't doubt. I don't doubt that either. I think I think it's going to be interesting to see how the White House is able to beat the press into submission versus how much the press is able to stand firm. Like Caitlin Collins, for one, she is consistently fantastic. I think she got reamed out by Kate
Collins, yes.
Caroline Leavitt the other day. And I don't remember why she.
It was the comments that Hegseth made. She was asking her to explain if that was the position of this White House, if that they thought that the reporting on those deaths was to make Trump look bad. That was the question.
Bingo. Bingo. Yeah, and she stood her ground. I really have a growing respect for Caitlin Collins. Manu Raju is another one. There's some reporters out there that are fearlessly, going after this, as well they should, because we the people are relying on you guys to ask these questions. I would also like to ask that when a fellow reporter asks a legitimate question, whether it's of the president or whether it's Caroline Levitt, and they just try to bypass it and move on to the next one, please follow up with that question. Stop leaving that to die on the vine, right?
Agreed.
Support
Agreed.
each other, right? Because they're just they're giving us the snow job. Get the answers. That's what we need. When
Yeah.
somebody says it's raining cats and dogs out there, it's not your job to report somebody says it's raining cats and dogs. It's your job to look out the fucking window
Mhm.
and verify whether or not it's raining cats and dogs.
Amen.
Do your jobs.
100%. And what we should not expect, but we should hope that they will not let what is happening right now, these abuses of power, the deaths, the destruction, the chaos, the mayhem, the war crimes that are being committed right now. If the media is not going to meet the moment by consistently calling these things out so that the American people don't become numb to them, as we have become numb in other endless conflicts, right? We've become numb to the numbers. We've become numb to the numbers that we're getting back from Afghanistan, Iraq, etc. We can't allow that to happen. And it's
Yeah.
incumbent upon each and every one of us, if the legacy media is not going to meet that moment, but we have to make sure that we keep calling it out and we keep going to verified sources for the facts, because this administration will lie about everything. And so if we can't trust them, and if reporters aren't going to meet the moment, then we have to find those sources who will. There's plenty of people we know we can count on that are of the left legacy media and are places like Substack, etc. Something else I don't want us to snooze on before we go is what we cannot allow is for them to use this, and in one of their many prongs of the intentions here, to distract us from the Epstein files.
Oh,
We
yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
allow. They are deleting files. They look at this shiny maybe World War III over here.
65,000 files.
Correct. Including the files pertaining to the allegations against Donald Trump that he raped and assaulted a 13-year-old. Now, they don't want us to talk about that. They didn't want people to notice that. Thank God. There are lots of people who are monitoring this. Even CBS freaking News at this point, with Bari Weiss in charge, even
I was
CBS
shocked.
reported on this. It is insane. It is terrifying. It is disgusting. They are trying to tell the American people this is fine, when other people around the world and even here in private industry and academia are paying the price. There are consequences, slowly but surely. This administration, this regime is trying to tell the American people that this is fine. This is yet another thing that you need to move on from, that you need to get over. We are not going to hold ourselves accountable. We are going to cover up what we are doing. And if there are two things that are going to get these MAGA faithful, I'm not talking about the ones like this by guy Ben, somebody I was on Piers Morgan with the other day, but the ones who are like, he said he's going to release the Epstein files and he said no new wars. These two things combined right now, like, they might actually together compel these people. I don't need them to vote for Democrats. I just need them to not show up to vote for more of this. And I think, like, slowly but surely they're waking up to the reality that Donald Trump lied. He's a con man, but also that he's a rapist traitor, a child rapist traitor.
Did you know they voted yesterday to
Yes, I did.
to subpoena Pam Bondi
I saw that. I'm glad that they did. That's it.
For-
Nancy Mace voted for that too.
for her mishandling of the Epstein files? Now, with that said, my expectations are way, way, way low,
Yeah,
because
same.
we all know her playbook is going to be she's going to obfuscate. She's going to talk while the member of Congress is speaking until Jim Jordan, I'm assuming this is going to be, it's the House Oversight Committee. So Jim Jordan is going to, file his nails and wait until, she's wasted a good, 30 to 45 seconds. And he'll say, the time belongs to the member of Congress, blah, blah, blah. And then she'll like hold back, but then she'll jump in again. And then she'll use the 30 seconds from the next Republican person to go and attack.
Yeah.
And that's how it'll go. So I hope members of Congress, Democratic and Republican, are coming up with a game plan to prevent her from pulling that old okey doke. Stop that
Yeah.
bullshit, too.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, this has been quite a day. My God, we have a lot of news, obviously, mixed bag. I am very glad that Kristi Noem is gone. I don't think Mark Wayne Mullen is any better, as we've discussed, but it's certainly one of those days where it's we get a little bit of everything. I would say that it is good news, at least, to know that she's not getting everything that she wants, and that she's not going to be able to use our taxpayer dollars to stoop her side piece at 30,000 feet. That's something I'm calling a win.
I want her held accountable for the lying under oath. I mean, people, you don't understand. I mean, you do understand, but I mean, so many people we have seen over the years, so many people, they take an oath, they swear an oath, and then they lie to the American people's faces, and nothing comes of that. You notice that? Do you never see somebody? Wait, has anybody been put in jail for perjury? For lying under oath?
Well, Michael
Is that
Cohen.
Steve Bannon?
No, Steve Bannon was for not complying with a subpoena. Michael Cohen, I believe, for perjuring himself, and Michael Flynn, I believe, for perjuring himself. But I don't think Michael Flynn was in front of Congress. I think that was sworn testimony he gave to the FBI. But Michael Cohen, I believe, went to prison for lying under oath in front of Congress. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me. By the way, it is Comer. Comer's oversight. Jim Jordan with a G is judiciary. So that's just one little housekeeping tidiness. And by the way, speaking of accountability, before we go, how the hell are they not subpoenaing
Melania?
Howard Lutnick?
Yeah.
Why is Howard Lutnick making small talk with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the State of this Union, like he's the man of the hour, after we know? Because we know. There's no question. He hasn't even said he didn't lie. He said, I didn't remember right. He blatantly lied. We now have a photo of him and
without his wife and kids.
Without his wife, right? He blatantly lied. We know they had business ties. We know they were neighbors for decades. When someone lies like that, when someone offers up a lie that seems out of the blue, that seems to make no sense, it's not connected to something else. Why would Lutnick just overcompensate by being so over the top? Oh yeah, we walked in there and we saw the table, and I was like, "That's it, honey. We're never going back here again." And I cut ties with him right then and there. You do that because you're overcompensating for the truth.
Yep.
And the truth, the truth isn't going to come through Hillary Clinton. The truth is going to come through Howard Lutnick and others who are named in these files.
That's why I said Melania, because at least Melania probably knows more than Lutnick, and like she wasn't she even with Epstein before she was with Trump?
There are lots and lots of
Hillary didn't
people.
know shit.
No, and that was also so stupid and such a gotcha again, which is why they get into that room and Boebert just sits there and just like, what do you know about Pizzagate? Like, it was just honestly a joke. But Hillary Clinton destroyed them, which was an absolutely masterclass.
Someone else asked her about UFOs.
UFOs, Pizzagate, my God. Lauren Boebert was sending Benny Johnson pictures, etc. Nancy Mace, I'm surprised she didn't ask her, what is a woman? But why is she so confused about what a woman is, by the way? She seems obsessed with the answer to that question.
It's the trans.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding.
She's trying to make that trans point.
I do think I've heard a lot of people say that Melania, I think Michael Wolff has written about Melania being with Jeffrey first. And I'm sorry, but you cannot have this much proximity to all of this. You cannot have all of those photographs together and all of this stuff in the files. We read that thing about the goat fucker. It's a goat fucker. I mean, you would just every point, every sign is pointing in the same direction. And this party's not interested in true accountability. I wouldn't say that Massey isn't. I think he is. I think on some level, Marjorie Taylor Greene might be, but some of them are getting. They're not willing to poke the Republican bears on this, and I think they need to.
Tina Bradford made a funny comment there saying, "What is a war?"
Right. Oh God. That's another thing. It is a war. It's not a war. It is a war. It's not a war. Trump's saying it's a war. Well,
That's
well,
clever.
yeah. I want to just before you give closing thoughts, I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here on this Thursday. We missed last Thursday together. Unfortunately, I came back from Washington D.C. where we were together but separate with
You were sick.
so sick. I literally just started feeling better today. Like I finished an essay I've been working on since Monday, today, because I have been I don't know what it was. I went to the doctor. My daughter had an ear infection from, I think, the same virus. It felt like the plague. I don't know what it was. So we missed last Thursday. We're sorry, but we're so glad to see you guys all back here. And Brooklyn, do you have any closing thoughts? Oh, before Brooklyn gives its closing thoughts, make sure you go to thesirennetwork.com, thesirennetwork.com and subscribe. You don't have to be a paid subscriber. Eventually we hope that you do, because that supports our work, but you can subscribe to get access to all of our content and check out everything that we're doing. But Brooklyn, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, we didn't get to spend any time on this, but I do want to say I am optimistic about Texas. And the other night we saw James Tallarico rise to victory in a contentious and hard-fought primary battle, and that was a tough one because I liked both. I liked both candidates, and luckily I don't live in Texas, so I didn't have to make that decision. But I'm sure that was tough for Texas residents. My own personal thoughts were I love Jasmine Crockett's energy, and I love her fight, and I love how she attacks people with the real voice. And I also love James Tallarico. James Tallarico just is like very different. Like he goes down like a smooth bourbon, like that voice,
Yeah.
and he's like Christian, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't beat you over the head. He's not like, forcing his religion on you. So, but he's almost like a mag. He could potentially be a MAGA whisperer, and reach some people. Like, how like a dog whistle, only like certain animals can hear the dog whistle. Like he can speak in a certain way. Anyway, my point is this: now that contentious primary is over, it is time for us as a party to coalesce and unite, because the Republicans are trying every dirty trick in the book to take the vote away from us. They want to do away with mail-in ballots. They want to force people to have to buy a passport and a birth and go through all the rigmarole to get a birth certificate. They want to move polling places either the day before or the day of the election, as they did in Dallas County. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but there were quite a few voters who were trying to go to their regular polling place where they've gone for the past 3, 4, 5 elections. All of a sudden, no, you can't vote here. That's not democracy. Changing the rules, changing the places, confusing people, disenfranchising voters. That is as un-American as it gets. So we don't have the luxury of hoping and praying and waiting for a perfect candidate. You know what? There's going to be some candidates running for office that didn't go along with 10 out of 10 things that were on your top priority list. Maybe they checked off 8 things. Fine. As long as it's not a freaking John Fetterman, for crying out loud, that son of a bitch. I have an endless supply of venom for him. But the goal is to win in November, to save our democracy, to save our voting rights, to hold people accountable who need to be held accountable, and to save our country from Donald Trump.
And I would add to I call them, the Veruca Salts. Not you're never going to have the perfect candidate, right? But this one issue right now, this idea of saving democracy so that we get to debate and disagree down the road and in the future. It trumps, no pun intended, all other things. And I will just also point to the fact that, Puerto Rico may not have been your choice. I like them both. I didn't want to weigh in on either negatively because I really do like them both. And I thought either one would be a win for Texas, but maybe he's not your cup of tea and he wasn't your candidate. You still got to coalesce behind him right now because the margins in Texas, they don't let them tell you Texas is deep red. The margins in Texas are really slim. And the differences, particularly in Beto O'Rourke's case, were so small that really came down to turnout. It really came down to people showing up to vote. And so right now, we can't leave. It was so slim. It was really, really, and again, the better candidate clearly and should have won that race. But that's why we have to get everybody out. You can't sit this one out. You can't have every single thing that you want all the time. That's also life. But every single person who does not want fascism needs to weigh in and get up and say, I'm gonna vote for him. And we need that in every state. We need that in North Carolina. We need that in Maine. We need that in Ohio. The Senate could honestly be the key to truly getting accountability here, where we could, it's not entirely likely, the math is very difficult to get 2/3, but we could impeach in the House and remove in the Senate. The math is not impossible. But at the very least, we will stop him and we will be a bulwark. Right. It's look at that. Look at that margin. It's insane. And honestly, there was a lot of people who were eligible voters who did not turn out, and they were largely Democrats. So these numbers matter. Every single solitary vote matters. Whether you think you'll make a difference or not, your vote counts and it matters. And elections are won and lost by small margins so often that we just have to show up. If you don't vote, you're right, Lake Erie Mama. If you don't vote, you have no opinion, right? You can't say that this is not what you don't support it, or this is not what you voted for. You didn't vote for jack shit, so you can be quiet. But I need everybody. We need everybody. We need numbers too large to ignore in every state in this country, right? In every district, in every race, up and down every ballot. So I hope.
Too big to rig.
Yeah, I hope the people of Texas. By the way, real fast, do we have a winner on the Republican side? Is it Paxton or is it Cornyn? Do we know?
It's going to be a runoff. It's going to be a runoff. It's not going to be over until May, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say this: Cornyn has a tiny bit of a better shot against Tellerico. I don't think Paxton matches up well because he's such a weirdo and an extremist.
Go Paxton!
Yeah, you're a fucking asshole. But with that, thank you. Yeah, thank you, and congratulations to Tellerico. Congratulations to Cooper in North Carolina, etc. We had a lot of cool races recently, and thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Brooklyn. Thank you, Sam, behind the scenes. What a day. My God. Bye-bye, puppy killer. Bye-bye.
Yes.
And with that, we will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you for joining us for the Joe and BDD show. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Peace.